Okay, so, and welcome to Orca. Thank you for coming. We are calling our Tuesday, December 2nd Select Board meeting agenda to order. Calling to order the meeting and welcoming our guests. We also have Sean and Dorinda, Sean as a lister, and Sean McVeigh and Dorinda Crowell, who will be helping us with some budgeting information tonight. Okay, so we just have three of us on the board tonight. Zara is unable to make it, and Stacy, we are not sure where Stacy is. But last we knew, she was stuck in an RV on the side of the road. Hope that was a month ago. She's gotten her RV fixed. Okay, so, is there a motion to approve the minutes of the November 18th minutes, in a regular select board meeting?
I will make that motion.
Okay, Paul makes that motion. Carol, is there a second?
I'll second it.
And, Larry seconds. All those in favor of approving the November 18 minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. And then we are approving the agenda for today's meeting. Are there any amendments to the agenda? I don't think so.
No.
Yeah, okay.
Eric's here.
Here's Eric. Okay, good. And Eric just arrived as well, Carol, the road. Okay, so is there a motion to approve today's agenda for Tuesday, December 2nd?
I'll make that motion.
Larry moves. Is there a second?
I
You
will
can sit right
second.
here. And Paul seconds. All those in favor say aye. Aye. The ayes have it. Okay. So it is just before 5:05, but we'll let Kari Bradley. So to give you a little preface about this, we've sort of been talking about over time, you know, the idea of having something like a town manager or a town administrator, and just based on reading about what each position does, it seemed to make sense that a town of our size probably needs something like an administrator versus a manager for like a bigger town like Berlin, for example. And so, you know, this has come about based on our, you know, over the last few years, well, not even, I mean, anyone can say this, over the last 10 years, the job requirements of a small town in order to, you know, meet all the rules that we have to follow on a state level. It's just more than what a town clerk has the capacity to deal with. I think we can all agree that Sarah Merriman, in her role as town clerk, was also acting as a town administrator on many levels, sort of going above and beyond what a town clerk's job duties would be if you were to look in statute what a town clerk does. And so this year in particular, it has, you know, with Sarah retiring and having a new town clerk who is learning, you know, the job of a town clerk, while also, you know, dealing with all of the magnitude of stuff that we've had to deal with our floods. It's become apparent to me as select board chair that we simply need more help. We need a more professional level help to be able to get us through the things that we've had to get through and the things that we will need to get through. I personally have put in far more hours than I ever would have thought I would have to do while I'm working a full-time job. And I can't do it well, right? So it really is, I think it's imperative for us to consider having a town administrator position, whether that's part-time or full-time. I will also add that in tonight's budget, I believe did you get a chance to add into the budget a road commissioner?
No.
Okay, so as a part of the budget piece tonight, we're going to be talking about having a paid road commissioner to help us out. And Kari is both a road commissioner and the town administrator. So he's going to be, I invited him because Calais is a similar size for Middlesex. And I just wanted to hear sort of, you know, how this came about and what, the last year or two has looked like for you, Kari, in this position and what you've been able to do. And, is there an assessment that you can say that like, wow, we've actually helped save the town money by, having, or at least spent less than what we would have potentially spent without having this position. So, he sent us over some things that I sent to you guys. There are 3 or 4 attachments here, that talked about like how they came about it, how they considered a town manager versus a town, manager, versus administrator, and also a little bit of a budget, related to the costs associated. So Kari, if you want to unmute yourself, I guess you are, I'd love to give you the floor and welcome.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Liz. Thanks everybody for having me. Um, Calling from snowy Calais, and I thought I'd provide a few comments along the lines of the way Liz framed it, talking about how Calais got to this point, what it's like currently, and then just a few reflections from me personally about the town administrator position. So I'll start by saying that over the past decade or so, the town of Calais has tried out a couple different positions to help the select board, primarily with the management of the highway department. And just so for context, we have something like 1,700 residents. We have 80 miles of roads, almost entirely gravel. Our highway department is 4.5 full-time equivalents, and the highway budget is 1.1 million. The total town budget is a little over 2. And the select board had tried an operations manager. They had tried a Department of Public Works. I don't know how different those actually were, but neither of those positions worked out. And then in 22 and 23, that was a particularly challenging period for Calais. And by the end of that period of time, all 5 select board members resigned. The clerk and the treasurer left, and our road crew had unionized along the way. And so it was sort of starting from scratch with a brand new select board. And we had a former clerk did a bunch of research on different staffing models around the state. And I shared that summary document with you. She provided that analysis to our select board in 23. And basically the upshot is much like the way Liz described it, which is that town needs a full-time professional to help the select board do its work. And so as you well know, the select board is carrying a lot of responsibility in terms of being both the legislative and the executive body for our under-resourced operations, basically. The demands are really varied. It's way too time consuming and sometimes too complex to expect a group of volunteers to do a first-rate job with that. So I was hired into the role in November of 23, so it's been 2 years. I shared the job description that I was hired under, and that's still fairly accurate. We're in the process of updating that, but the idea at the time of my hiring was that I would be doing the select board administration, serve as the road commissioner, and then supervise the other appointed employees and be a liaison to other entities, whether it's, state, federal government or other towns or other organizations. And I'll just say that I am not a born road commissioner. Far from it. I worked in natural foods retail for 25 years, including for Hunger Mountain Co-op. As far as the road commissioner goes, I see my role primarily as a support person for the foreman and the road crew. I try to make sure they have what they need. I do handle the hiring. I act as the agent for the select board with hiring and then some of the higher level policy, budget planning, customer relations kinds of things where they need me. But it's always in partnership with the road crew because they are the experts and I'm not. So there was a lot of learning there in my first year. Likewise, with the treasurer role, I was hired to supervise that role. And initially, we had planned to hire a new treasurer to replace the interim one that was working when I was hired. But there were no suitable candidates, and I knew that I would have to understand that subject matter well enough to supervise a person. So I just took it over. And the first year was really kind of brutal. We were dealing with the FEMA process. We had two bonds, including the Curtis Pond Dam uh, construction project. We had other debt that we were dealing with, cash flow challenges, multiple grants that were already in process. We were trying to finish up ARPA. Plus, we had the whole range of issues. For some reason that year, we had a lot of animal issues. We had horses, really terrible troubles with a couple horses, dog issues. Learned a lot about beavers that first year, and but I got I got through it. We got through it, and you know, by the end of that period, we was getting ready for the budget for the current fiscal year. We decided that we needed a part-time road commissioner to relieve some of the burden. And we had budgeted for that. Town approved that. But after about 14, 15 months, my perspective shifted. I think it really took getting through a full cycle plus some. And then suddenly things started to fall into place more. Um, and So let's say we're analyzing the various roles, and I shared a role analysis that I did because I wear a number of hats. It was confusing to the select board, um, what I actually do, how I spend my time. So I provided some estimates of the roles with the tasks associated with them, and estimates of how much my time, where my time is spent. About half it is general administration, the other half being treasurer and road commissioner, and then breaking down into specific tasks. And I actually got even more detailed than that, if you care to see that information. But I think it's working reasonably well, and we are not budgeting at this point for a separate road commissioner. And in fact, we have a full-time assistant in the office that's retiring this year, and we think we can operate with quite a few fewer hours. So things are starting to work. We're developing some new efficiency, and that's good given the economic climate. I think we're just going to have to be as lean as we think we can be, and still be sort of successful in the essential tasks. I will say that I'm really fortunate to have a strong team that I work with. We get a lot of support from our clerk. We have a delinquent tax collector that performs that role. We have a highway grants administrator, which is a very part-time person that has done a lot of work helping me um, understand highway issues and get us through the FEMA process. So it's not like I'm carrying all the weight. And one takeaway I have from this 2-year evolution is that in a small town where resources are limited and you're dealing with such small staffs, I think that the staffing model is always going to be somewhat fluid. And it really depends on what are the conditions of the time and who are the personnel, what's the team that you have, what are their strengths and abilities. And then you're just going to have to adapt based on what's going on. And that, I see the town administrator role very much in that context of being adaptable and having to fit to what's needed at that time. But I definitely think that the right person in our town at least can handle the town administrator, the treasurer, and the road commissioner duties with a reasonable work schedule. I'm not putting in heroic hours. It's a full-time job, but it's just a full-time. It's not more than that. And I would say that the hardest part is just keeping track of the variety of tasks and responsibilities. First, it was learning. Now it's just keeping track. And I put a lot of effort into maintaining my lists and my calendars and systems, really is what it's about. And I've been really focused this past 6 months on documenting systems and then training other people on the team into the essential tasks so that we have backups in place. And I'd be happy to help with training and coaching if you do decide to hire a town administrator. I think it can probably help you speed up that process of getting them up to speed. Um, so that's a bit of a summary. I did want to share a little bit of perspective, my personal perspective, having served in this, because you might be wondering, like, who are you going to get to actually serve in this role in your town? And I'll just be clear that, town administrators, it's not my dream job, and that's okay. I had my dream job for a number of years, and what I'm doing now is satisfying, it's meaningful, and it's a lot less stressful. So that might appeal to some candidates out there. A fair amount of what I do is routine, of course, but much of that I enjoy. I really enjoy advising the select board and not carrying all this responsibility. So there's a partnership where I'm providing research and analysis and sometimes recommendations, but I'm not carrying all the full weight of making the decisions. There are certainly tedious parts, but I think that the role can generally offer a pretty good work-life balance. The pay is so-so, the benefits are excellent, but for me, the most meaningful part is that I'm doing something that I care. I care about the town. I care about the residents, and this job offers me opportunity to work on that and fulfill that mission. So, and then the other thing I would say is that I really appreciate being a member of what I would call a pretty high functioning team at this point. Between the road crew, the office staff, and our select board, we've got some really top-notch people, and there's a sense that we're pulling in the same direction, and that's extremely meaningful to me. So I think all that is it's a pretty rosy picture. I could change, but I've seen this with the last few hirings that we've done for other positions, that we're getting pretty high quality candidates. And I suspect that what's going on is people want to serve locally, they want to be close to home, they want to do things that are meaningful to them. And I think that probably carries a lot of weight these days. So that was sort of my quick summary. I'm happy to answer questions, and I know it's been hard for you. I hope it works out, and I'd be happy to help in any way that you think would be helpful.
Thank you, Kari, I appreciate that. Just a quick question, did you guys, when you decided that you were gonna move forward with this position, did you put it down on the warning as a separate line item where the town voted for it, or did the select board just make that decision? I'm not sure if that's something we can do.
Yeah, I think that the money was allocated to one of those other positions. I think it was maybe the operations manager. It was part of the highway department. I don't know much about that. Frankly, I live in Calais, but I wasn't paying a lot of attention at
Okay.
that. The money was allocated, so the budget to actuals looked a little wonky because they created this new position. But in a sense, the town had approved it in as a budget amount. I know that there was a lot of interest when Donna Fitch presented her analysis and had a conversation with the select board, because there had been such discord. There was a lot of engagement with the general public, and so it's not like people were unaware, but it wasn't something that was warned specifically.
Okay. And do you feel that you've contributed in ways, like in terms of like grant writing or securing funding that otherwise the town didn't have the capacity to do? Did you feel that this position has helped out with that, or?
Yeah, to an extent. As I mentioned, we have a highway grants person, and they've stayed on. As I'm getting up to speed, I think they'll be around for a little bit longer. Most of our grants are highway, and I don't know if I would have made it, without this person, especially with the FEMA projects. But I think I understand the highway grants much better now. I've helped to administer them and apply for them. But I haven't been the sole person. I have applied for other grants, like an ash tree removal grant and a couple others, relatively small. I think that's something I want to work on. But, based on my research there, what's out there, it's it's limited, frankly. I think that a lot of it is, there's a lot of money in hazard mitigation, and we worked on one large one. It didn't bear fruit. So we'll keep at it. I have to say that, sort of been limited rate of return on my position in terms of grant application and fulfillment. I work more on the administration side.
Yeah, okay, well, that's good. Thank you for that candor. Does anyone have any questions for Kari?
Yeah, Kari, Larry Rooney, thanks for coming today. We appreciate it. You talked about having a full-time role, but it doesn't sound like it seems like you got 40 hours worth of work. Do you think this position could be like a part-time role? Could someone efficiently and do it well, like in a 24-hour or 32-hour position? Or do you think that's really compressing and putting a lot of pressure on that one person?
Well, it's a fair question. I think it depends on the scope. Or, if you were saying all the things that I'm currently doing, could they be done in 24 hours in terms of the essential tasks, and covering all the key functions? I think that would be doable. I think, you might have seen the hours that I'm putting in various places. About a sixth of my time is spent on the road commissioner. I think you could get away with a little bit less than that if you had a really strong foreman and a crew. You'd be sacrificing certain things. So you may change the scope and say that they're going to be the road commissioner and the select board administrator, but the treasurer role functions are going to go to somebody else. Or you may say, we can live with them doing less than what Callis is currently doing with the model. It kind of goes to that being sort of adapting to the conditions, like both what you can afford in the budget, the person that you have, and what you really need to get done.
So he's working also as a
depends.
treasurer too.
Right.
You're working, so in your role right now, you're road commissioner. The administrator takes on the road commissioner position as well as treasurer?
Yes.
Right, so, I think that the answer is yes to you, because we have a treasurer position.
Oh,
I mean, and
yeah.
again, like what Kari said, it sort of depends also on the culture at the moment, right? Like, if you didn't have anyone who wanted to be a treasurer, you might be able to bundle it the way we bundle things here, right? And sometimes the bundling isn't the same from year to year. But for right now, you're working 40 hours a week as treasurer, town administrator, and road commissioner.
Yeah.
And you're getting a lot of support from your board and your town clerk and a full-time town clerk assistant.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No question. It may be different than your situation, but I would say it's definitely working. If I carved out the treasurer role, it'd be just that much more time to devote to the highway department and select board. I mean, there's a lot that I can't get to. I mean, there's so many different tasks, projects. The wish list is long. So, this is
I guess
just.
that's where my question goes. Is there other things to do, or is it something that if we consider a part-time role? Are we not setting somebody up for success? We're crunching the time. But I think you guys have answered my question, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's really about getting clear on what the essential duties are, and then what are the things that you'd like to have, and how are you going to deal with those?
Yeah, okay. Well, I appreciate that. Does anyone else have any questions for Kari? All right, Kari, thank you so much for your
It's like
time.
Shelley.
Oh, sorry, Shelley Desjardins has a question online. Shelley?
Hi, it sounds like he's kind of does a lot what we already have. Like, isn't Eric like the road commissioner and we have a treasurer? Would we be looking to replace that or just
No.
assist? Just
We wouldn't be
assist us?
looking to replace it, and I think that, and that's sort of the difference, like a town manager, for example, like Berlin. Like they kind of make all the decisions, right? And the select board is just sort of sitting in the back, like doing other things that are not like really big decision making the way that it is now. I think Shelley, the reason, well, we invited Kari because of the similar size of the town, knowing that his duties aren't necessarily the same duties that we might assign a town administrator here. But the reason that this has come to a head is that we know from this last 2 years, for example, that we really need a dedicated road commissioner, right? Eric can't do it all, right? He needs support. He needs someone with expertise to support him. And so that we have, two people helping us rather than Eric trying to just do it all himself.
Everything. So it'd be like a catch-all,
We know
right?
from my work and Zara, like we hired Zara to do FEMA work.
And that's proven to be very.
And that's been
like,
hugely
beyond-
helpful. I mean, we wouldn't be able to do it without paying someone to do that. That's something that likely a administrator, had we had a position, could have done that piece of it. We know that I'm spending far more time than I have the capacity or time to do, and therefore I'm not doing it as well as I could be doing it if we had a paid person taking the load off of the work that I'm doing every night and weekend and day to get us through the stuff that we're dealing with right now. So that's really, and so I thought it would be helpful to hear from someone whose town had very similar, well, even worse, right? I mean, you lost your whole board, right? You lost everybody all at once, right? And you had no governance. And, what we want to do is avoid that, right? We don't want it to be where our board members are burned out or that we can't find leaders within the town because no one has the capacity to serve. So anyway, thank you, Kari. I appreciate that. Are there any other questions for Kari? Okay. Thank you so much, Kari.
You're
We'll be in
welcome.
touch if we need your guidance and mentorship.
Sounds good. Have a good
Appreciate
night.
Okay, you too.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is there a set amount of hours that a select board member generally puts in a year? And is anybody keeping track of how many hours you are putting in?
I think I'd feel more comfortable not keeping track of the hours
Right.
I've put in so far.
Right.
I mean, I know it's a lot
think it
more than you
depends.
thought, and I know it's a huge amount,
Yeah.
but, you already have a full-time job, all that, like, yeah.
Yeah,
I just
so for
didn't know.
example, so another thing that was mentioned, I think in here, or maybe it was someplace else, that a town administrator also acts as the select board assistant, right? And we had that in Sarah, who was our select board assistant. And because of the nature of her job as both a town clerk who was in the know and here every day and talking to people and getting all the emails, it's a actually really helpful dual job to have, a town clerk and a select board assistant. Cheryl, rightfully so, did not want to be select board assistant. We couldn't find a select board assistant, so that has fallen to me. So I am doing that job that we could call it a select board assistant, but maybe town administrator has a better ring to it, right? And maybe, and I think that if we consider, which we will be looking at the road crew budget today, Paul and I have been talking because Paul has been more than helpful and generous with his time with our notice of alleged violation and helping the town to take the corrective action, that this would have been this would have been what a road commissioner does to help us out, right? And the road commissioner could have been there to help with overseeing the dirt tech stuff. While Eric was running the town and other things, we just didn't have that capacity to oversee what was happening with dirt tech. So I think, and Paul agrees, that there is an argument for a dedicated road commissioner. I don't agree with the callous idea of having someone like Ari as road commissioner, because he's not a road person, right? I'm sure he's capable, but like, it doesn't, if you have someone who knows how roads work, like Steve did when you were road foreman, it was really helpful, right? To have that second set of eyes and thoughts and brains to put together and say, oh, this is how it should be done, or, oh, I would do it this way, or whatever. And I think that it also, is important because, that helps, with a small road crew, like, 3 guys and Eric who work closely together. Having a road commissioner who can kind of come in there and sort of have an oversight, there's less of an opportunity for like, there to be issues, personnel issues that might come up. And so I think that's something that we want. It's not in tonight's budget, but I did a little back of the napkin math of what it would cost, for someone 3 hours a week to, fulfill a road commission responsibility. Therefore, a town administrator, I don't think if there was someone who wanted to do something part-time, we might be able to fill that position with someone like 25 hours a week. We might not, but I think it could go a long way, and it would be more for our budget. It's gonna increase our budget for sure. But the question is, how long am I gonna wanna do this? Or can I do this? And who is going to just come in and decide they're gonna spend 10 hours a week doing stuff for free while they're working full-time? They're not. It's not possible. And so, or at least it's not possible to do it well. So that's really why we brought this up. So I want to stay on target because we have a really busy meeting. So the highway report and FEMA road update, I do have the update from Zara in my bag, because she's not here today. And so Eric, you gave us a little road report. Do you want to just give that to us? Tell us.
Plowing and sanding,
Yeah, what's up with that?
well, it's winter. Old Brook Road, the road has been widened and the barricades have been installed.
Okay,
And yeah, right now we're focusing on snow removal.
Dorinda do you feel comfortable on that with the way the barricade's been set up and stuff? Okay. And the plows and stuff are able to get by and the field
I
truck?
think the plan is to do it with a small
Yeah,
truck
Gotcha.
Yeah.
and,
All right.
but, it's very sufficient room.
Okay, good. Okay, so barricades did you get that, Carol? I don't see you anymore. I wanna make sure you're still there with us. Are you?
See her name.
I do too. She kind of just disappeared. Hi, Carol. Okay,
I'm
you got
here,
that?
it's all good on mute, everything.
Okay, so the barricades were put
I
up
hear you.
on Old Brook Road. Were there barricades put up yet on Notch or wherever we were thinking we were gonna do that?
No, and they won't,
Okay,
they won't.
okay, we won't need it. Okay. All right, okay, keep going. Was that it?
Mhm.
There were no issues with trucks or anything like that?
No, no, everything's been. Not gonna work.
How are we doing on remember the build and the purchase of those trucks?
Yeah, so I've already locked in our spot with the body and stuff.
Okay,
I just gotta decide on a truck. So
Okay.
we've been locked in, which is good because that's what takes the longest. So we've already
Okay.
got our spot there. We just need to pick a truck.
okay.
And, I've finally gotten them all back. I just have to, go throw
Okay. So, I will then give an update from Zara. You got this, Carol, so I would just cut and paste or something, right? So repayments still outstanding for the 4720 event, which is the 2023 flood. East Hill Road is still quote obligated pending award at just under 800,000. Lower Sunnybrook still obligated pending award, that's 740,000 and some change. Portal Road still quote pending PDMG project review, I don't know what that stands for. Needs permit from ANR, 282,000. So Portal Road needs permits from A and R.
It's all in the process, we're just waiting on the corrective action to fix itself by spray, which I believe it will.
Oh, okay. And, so they're not gonna even approve the permits until they look at it to see?
Yeah.
Is that right? Is that how that's gonna
The
work?
First thing,
Okay. And basically no movement on these since August or September 25 because of the government shutdown. FEMA director resigned. New FEMA director is Karen Evans, AKA the Terminator. That does not sound good. Okay. Brook Road is still, quote, pending large project review equaling $1,410,000 in damages. Oh, thank you. Engineer, oh wait, hold on. Keith, Coven mentioned regarding the 10% repayment portion the state is holding up is due to the lack of funds on the state's part, okay? State has asked for a project completion report to be filled in, which she has almost completed. And she has been told there's no need to rush by our state FEMA coordinator, but plan to complete it ASAP. Thank you, Zara. Engineering, okay, so this was for, engineering of, Old Brook Road. What else? Dick Daniels,
Daniels Farm,
and then the future ones, there's some future ones. So we put out an RFP on 11/13 to 11/21 to 5 engineers, and we received no response. So she spoke to Tyler Billingsley of East Engineering and Evan Fitzgerald of Fitzgerald Engineering, was told everyone was busy before the floods. I assured them we would pay before FEMA paid, another concern that we already had A&E dollars paid to us. She resent to all 5 engineers with a new plea for help. She did get 2 formal rejections from, that email that she sent today.
I haven't seen it.
Okay, she's, we got a rejection from,
I think we're just on time.
they don't have time, right, they're too busy. Okay, no thank you from Nate Picard of Ruggles Engineering, and no thank you, number 1. No thank you, number 2 is from Roy Ship of, SLR. They would have been expensive. Okay, so she made a plea, and so we're hoping that someone comes through. Okay. And so then once we have an engineer and drawings, we'll RFP for the contractors again. This will determine the costs, price of the next 6 to 7 projects to go through FEMA. So now it says 4720 extensions were approved. Work must be completed by 7/13/2026. 2024, the 4810 flood extension paperwork due before 2/1/26. Goal is to complete work before fall of 26. Yeah. So that's her update. And I would love to answer questions, except I don't have any answers to this. The other thing is I'll just give you an update on A&R's notice of alleged violation, which is over there if anyone wants to see that. We had the Notch Road, South Bear Swamp Road, Center Road by Weeds Farm, and Center Road by Zidane Farm, and Portal Road and East Hill Road as all having various deficiencies. Much of it, as I mentioned in last week's meeting, was tied to aquatic organism passage. we have met with A&R to go over these culverts. We had a meeting today with Shannon Morrison of Wetlands to look at the South Bear Swamp Road culvert and wetland area. We'll have forthcoming directives from them as to what the next steps will be for that, but we all, I think, agreed that we believe it's gonna be fairly reasonable and hopefully not terribly expensive to just do some of the things that they're going to suggest, like planting some marshland type wood willow type stuff along the channel of water. And then also I will get in touch, I meant to do that today, but I will get in touch with the fellow from Rivers and Roads to set up an appointment with him. I think we can do that in the winter. I don't think we need, it doesn't have to necessarily be like a springtime thing. Just to give, just to put a, close that out as well. So that we know what to do, with the ditching. And so we have these compliance directives, and Paul and I met over the weekend and sort of banged out a schedule, and he's prepared based on what A&R had sent us already for corrective action. He put together a list of of the directives that were required within 2 weeks notice of this receipt. So we finished that up and I sent that off today. We've also handled corrective number 3. And so our next corrective actions are going to be within 2 more weeks, basically. And so that involves just sort of a little bit more thorough addressing how we will plan to work on the material issues of non-compliance. All of this has to be, the wetlands may be a little bit different in terms of the time frame, but all of these sort of corrections of non-compliance need to be completed by October 1st of 2026. And we're hopeful that we will be able to do that. So far, we feel good about how everything has sort of shaken out and fallen into place. And there's still some, hanging chads and loose ends. But I think, that's to be expected. And I think we've all learned a lot from this. So, so that's where we are on that. And I'll keep us up to date at each meeting, how we are doing with our notice of alleged violation. I think that's it for the roads. Does anyone have any questions about that? Yes, sir, can you just state your name for the record? Okay, it's Roland, Roland. And how do you spell your last name?
Hilbert.
Hilbert. Hilbert. Yes, Mr. Hilbert. Thank you for stating your name.
I am curious, if I understand the situation with Daniel's Farm Road correctly. In reading the minutes, it seems like there's a drive to get that completed before winter. Do I have that right?
There was, until we ran into some problems with the engineering drawings with Agency of Natural Resources, and they rejected our permit. So you heard me mentioning earlier about, in Zara's report about putting out an RFP for engineering. That is for Daniel's Farm as well as the Old Brook Road, and then some future culverts that were damaged in the 2024 flood. So the short answer is, I think no, we're not going to be able to get to it this winter at the Daniel's Farm, unfortunately, because of our permit snafu and the need to put a bid out for some new engineering.
Thanks. I mean, I can understand the rush for a full road.
Yeah. Yeah. And you live on Daniel's Farm?
I
yeah, okay.
Well, I'm curious what the drive was. I mean, is there some concern?
I'm sorry, did you say the drive?
There was a drive to get it done.
Oh, right, because we knew that it was, that it was important to try to get that done for the sake of the people living on the road. And do you want to speak more to that? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it just for the safety of the bridge, the way it's kind of temporary fixed right now is not really a long-term solution. And, I think he was just trying to, get that remedied as soon as possible.
Did you hear that? The
Yeah.
bridge, yeah.
So it's just a question of being timely with the repair.
Yeah. Yeah, so, hoping we get some responses to, and it may be that, we have to take it up a notch and, I don't know, have you guys reach out to some
Mhm.
engineers, right? To see if we can, if we're not gonna get any response from Zara's please.
Yeah, we still gonna do those. So.
Yeah, so, yeah, we'll see, and I do have a contact, at Stone Environmental, who did ask me to reach out to them, and Zara did, and I'm not sure if he actually ended up turning it down altogether or not, so he might come through. Yeah, so I think it's definitely on our priority list, like it will be, because Old Brook Road and Daniels, the other ones are less emergent, right? I mean, in terms of getting them done. But there's a time limit on all of this, right? We want to get this all done by the fall of 2026, so. Thank you for coming to the meeting. Do you have any other questions?
So if I understand correctly, then the tentative schedule would be next spring sometime?
I think so, yes. What do you guys think?
I'm thinking probably middle of summer.
Well, yeah, contingent on number one, getting an engineered plan that's accepted, getting the permit in hand.
Yeah.
And then obviously having RFP for a contractor, so. I mean, I would say next construction season.
Permit.
Yeah,
Permits.
definitely permits,
Yep.
yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Ideally get the ground running in the spring rolling, but we've got some things holding us up out of our.
Yeah, I mean, the bridge it's gonna be fine through the winter. They did a nice job backfilling it, and I understand the concern about getting it permanently fixed, but I mean, it's not in danger of failure.
Okay, good. I'm glad you feel comfortable on the bridge.
Wow, I want you to.
We want everyone to be safe driving the roads of Middlesex, and please stay safe on the roads because they are a little slick out there. Okay, any other questions about this? Alrighty then. So next is reviewing the dental plans and considering changes to health insurance HSA contributions from the town to employee HSAs. We had asked, and so last meeting, we did vote to change to, MVP. Yeah, and to also add a Delta dental plan. And so that we've already voted on, but what we still need to consider for the budgeting purposes is, how much of an HSA contribution do we want to make? And so I asked Brenda and Dorinda to pull together some data, which we have here. Which one should we be looking at? I see.
You guys approved the vision plan too.
Yeah, and a vision plan, yeah, okay.
But was that I was not clear on that, whether that was for the employee only, or if that was for employee and spouse, or
Dental or all of it?
all of it. I mean, I know on the health
Yeah.
insurance side, it was clear, but I did not hear what I heard you were approving it, but
Yeah,
I didn't.
I honestly don't know,
So-
have to,
I think Brenda has put together on the bigger sheet, one for the two-person plans, or if you were eligible for two-person. And I did it with the employee only, so you can see the.
is this the employee only?
Yes.
Okay, what does two-person, oh, you're talking about what? Cause I see you're on your thing, 2-person.
Right, so if you look under, we'll just use the first one, assistant clerk, that's a 2-person plan.
Okay,
So the annual premium for the insurance covers the employee and the significant other. What I have in my numbers is the amount of money that was quoted for the employee only,
for
for both dental and vision. And if you refer to the other sheet,
gotcha,
she has put it down
for both.
both, so you can see the difference between the two.
So really, it's both, we're talking about dental and vision, because the other ones already are considered in the annual premium, that's the health insurance.
Right.
And the rest is, okay. Okay, so, and so this is the cost to the town with the current HSA with with full HSA deductible.
So the first plan is if you left the HSA online, if you left the HSA as it is currently, the total cost to the town would be $158,000. If you go to the next one down, which is the full deductible HSA for the employee only, the cost to the town would be $167,333. If you go down to the last one, that is showing with a full HSA deductible for the employee and 50% for the spouse, which is what we're doing with the health insurance side of it currently now is 50%. And that would bring it in at $171,000. And so the total increase, if you look between the two columns, the total increase to the budget shows for each line, and then how it affects each employee, whether it's a single plan or a 2-person plan.
And that's cost to them during the,
No, that's cost to the town.
cost to the town, okay.
Well, and cost.
Well, that's cost in the town is in the first numbers here.
Right.
This is what they're getting for an increase in benefits.
Understood, okay, that's the value.
The value of,
Understood,
correct,
okay.
correct terminology.
Are you saying that, so let's just say. Is there, and there's no scenario of, which is fine, of paying a full HSA contribution for the second person too? There's just a scenario of,
But 50%.
50%. yeah,
I
okay.
did it on.
She did it on.
Oh, you did it on yours, okay. So yours is,
I tried to set it up, Paul, a little bit more like Dorinda's, because you said you thought it would be easier to look at.
Yeah, it's great, thank you.
So I did try to do that. The way mine is set up is, like Dorinda said, it's just, the numbers on the far right don't change for healthcare, dental, or vision. Where the numbers start to change then is with HSA contributions. So the first is what you currently contribute. The second one is half of the spouse plus full for the employee HSA. And the third one is for full employee and full spouse. So it's a difference of,
Because hers is taking into account a 2-person on.
oh,
vision
all
and
the time on
dental.
every single one.
On every single one,
Gotcha.
and mine is
Yeah,
just the employee for the dental and the vision. The other thing that's not on her sheet is the 10% that we put in there to cover the 6 months. That isn't covered because this plan is on a calendar year. Our budget is on a fiscal
and yours
year.
includes a 10% increase,
And mine includes the 10% increase.
right? Because technically yours should be, your number should be lower than her number, but it's higher because you included the 10%. Well,
yeah. And I thought that it was decided at the last meeting that the dental and vision had been approved, so that's why I didn't put any variables in
Okay.
there. And so if I was mistaken, obviously, the
Yeah.
numbers aren't accurate, but,
Well, I mean, I think, I think what we need to think about, you guys, is, and I know Zara would like to be a part of this conversation, because we're not deciding today anyway, right? But this is something to consider, is that, so we know, like, if we're looking at Brenda's, which is, like, to be honest, I've never had a plan where, like, oh, if I'm the spouse, I only get half. Like, I've just never heard of that, but maybe that's what people do. Do you know, Mark, as a former insurance?
So I don't know much about the two-person, but, the family one is different. It's just, it's just one number for the family.
Yeah,
So I've never really done a two-person. So
yeah, okay.
we just don't have anybody in the town that does the family plan. so-
But aren't we going to or not? He's not, no, because his child will probably be on Dr. So, okay, so what we want to think about is, what I would think is potentially looking at, if we were, do we want to think about the spouse or the second person within the program? Do we want to think about 100% for that person? What do you guys think about that? 100% for, or are you thinking, oh, let's just stick with, because I think we want to be looking at one of these sheets. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think, it can be anything in between as well. Like, you contribute what you want to the HSA. So I use those as numbers that made sense to me. But, for instance, if you were giving, a single employee $1,850 in one scenario and $3,200 in another, there's nothing saying that you can't do something in between. those
Right,
numbers
gotcha,
too.
yeah.
It's just,
I think what my question for the board is, do you, and this is really only about dental and vision at this point, for this question, do we want to include the second person for dental and vision, or do we want to do employee only for dental and vision?
Well, I have a question, and I hate to single Ben out, but he was a great example of a young family, which we can potentially see going forward. In his case with this, his significant other would have already been covered for the birth of their child, would have been covered under their plan.
For health insurance.
For health insurance, correct. So that already has gone up significantly as far as their benefits go. This is only regarding dental and vision. So we're only talking about our contribution in the HSA for coverage of the dental and vision.
No, of everything.
Of everything.
No, and
Okay.
HSA is for anything. It's for health, it's for dental, it's for vision.
Okay.
So there's two things that we're considering right now. We're considering, do we want to, so right now, we've never had dental and vision.
Right.
So do we want to include it just for the employee, or do we want to consider it for the employee plus their spouse or partner, whatever it is? And potentially a family, right? We don't have a family now, but we might have a family, right? So do we want to do that? That's question one. Question two is, how much do we want to contribute to the HSA contribution that will effectively go into their pot of money that they use to pay for their deductible for vision and dental and health insurance and everything like that?
What did we contribute now?
We contribute right here, under this pink thing, we do $23.50 for two-person and $18.50 for single, which isn't enough. Like, it's that, we've learned that regardless, because of these deductibles that people have, a lot of stuff has to come out of pocket before they even get coverage, right? So a lot of times you're paying out of, you're paying this big deductible, and you're never really getting any insurance because you haven't.
Did I understand, when we did talked about switching over to the MVP, was it a better plan for the HSA? You didn't have to put as much money in,
It had nothing to do with it,
nothing at all?
no. The medical insurance is in this hand and HSA is in this hand, totally independent of one another.
Okay, so that didn't, the deductibles didn't change for you when we
The
changed plans?
deductibles changed a lot,
Okay,
but
so
that's not
that's what-
HSA, oh.
Right, well, that's my question. So I
Okay,
mean,
sorry.
yeah, deductibles changed, right? So you use
Yes.
your HSA for deductibles, correct?
I can use it
For,
technically for whatever I want, but yeah,
but the
yes,
deductibles, like Ben
Yeah.
had mentioned, it
Yeah.
cost him, you know,
12,000,
12,000
yeah.
for, okay.
24,
So,
12 in each calendar year.
right, exactly. So, so my question is, so what more less deductible did we get? Did we gain
Half.
half? So what is that up to now? So what is your responsibility under the MVP plan goal?
Here it says right here, 6,400 for a family, 3,200 for an individual. For MVP, gold plus, great.
And our current contribution is
20.
It's 2,350, so for a two-person, 1,850 for a single. But that was when it was like what was the deductible? It was like higher.
It was 6,000 for single,
Yeah.
12,000 for.
Right, so it's
two-person.
quite a bit higher. So, for example, someone like Cheryl who has to have knee surgery, and that costs probably $30,000, she has to pay the first 12,000, right? And she only gets, if it was a single, 1,850. So on this thing, because we're dealing with a lower deductible, in fact, I think, so you have a proposition here, you have a proposition here, Brenda does, where we pay that entire 3,200. Or if it's a family, 6,400. I personally think that's too generous.
and I would agree.
I really do, like,
I
I
would.
think that, I don't know of other places that pay 100% of someone's health insurance, including the deductible. So I would vote for somewhere with increasing what we have given them from the 1,850 and doing something in between. Increasing the 1,850, and maybe doing, you know, so if you had 3,200 as a single person, I don't know. What are your thoughts?
What I would be in favor of, rather than almost a set amount, and I know it would take work each budget season, but we would look at it as a percentage of the deductible. Almost look at it as, we would cover X amount, a half of it, a
Yeah.
three, something like that. And again, that would be reflective every year as costs increase. But what's happened now is our HSA has probably been the same number since I worked for the town, which now
Right.
we're 10, 12 years after the
Right.
fact, you know? No,
Yeah.
not that long,
Yes,
but-
Mark.
So as Paul's describing, I would look at the ratio of what you were giving for an HSA last year or this year, right, versus what the out-of-pocket deductible is. And then look at it under the lower deductible as Larry was talking about, and figure out where you wanna go. Like, let's say you were covering, I don't know, a third or a half of the old deductible, where do you wanna be this year? Because folks' deductibles are gonna continue to increase every year.
Right.
So you're gonna have to probably move your HSA every year if you wanna keep current with healthcare costs. And if anybody's been reading BT Digger lately, we're talking about, you know, costs are continuing to go up.
Yep.
They're not gonna abate here.
Right.
We have no end in sight right now.
But I will say that looking at this, okay, so can we look, what did we do last year for?
The HSA was
health
originally set
insurance?
up to cover the entire deductible when they chose to go with the higher deductible plans.
A long
In the
time
beginning,
ago.
a long time ago, and it was supposed to always done, but since I've been here in 3 years, the deductible went up and the HSA stayed.
Stayed.
So it was 12,000, right? You said, And it was 18, so it was, no, how much, 6,000 you said?
You're right.
6,000 divided by 1850. No, that's not right. Is 30%, so we were paying 31% of the deductible. For a single person. Were we doubling it? Yeah, for a family we were, okay, so if we were to be doing,
And now the deductible has gone down.
the deductible has gone way down
Right.
to, and I'm, what's
It's
that?
half.
Yeah.
It's half, so now it's 3,200.
Right.
And so 1850 divided is more than 50%. And so that's that's almost, it's 58%.
For two person, it's $2,350, I think, right? Right now.
Right now,
Yeah,
right, but if
right.
we were to even keep the deductible as is, that's still a much bigger. Contribution toward the deductible
Yeah.
than what it was before. Because what it boils down to is, what are you gonna have to pay out of pocket, right? And if we're gonna have to pay, for 12, for a $6,000, oops. In the old days, this year, for example, if it was just her on her plan, she would have had to pay $7,800 towards her knee surgery. If she had that same surgery this year, she would have been paying, so if it's a 3,200 minus 1,850, she would have been paying 1,350. That's a significant difference, right, to what you would be paying out of pocket.
I'm personally a little conflicted with the HSA, given how much more the premium is now covering by lowering the deductible. So it makes our HSA ratio way
Yes,
higher. That dollar amount is a much higher value now.
Yes, the dollar amount is a much higher value, so you're even considering, maybe it needs to even be lower.
I didn't say that, that was
Okay.
for your words, not mine. But what I am saying is, because of us increasing the
Yeah.
premium towards our employees, that was a huge step, where this actually maybe is a place where we can find some middle ground, and not jump costs yet again. They're not significant, I should say.
Can you tell us how much we paid for insurance last year on the Blue Cross? Because I think that is also gonna factor in, right? Because our budget is going to increase because this,
Well, the increase to the budget is $128,000 for the insurance side of it,
just in general, like,
just the premiums.
okay, yeah.
Where are you, Brenda, just so I can follow
The
you?
first line where it says annual premium.
Right, but how much, but that's not an increase, that's how much it's gonna cost.
She's talking about what we paid in the past.
Yeah.
to Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Yeah, what did we pay?
What we figured the increase with the dental and the vision was only 18,000 overall.
Yeah, it wasn't, yeah,
It wasn't a lot.
yeah, you're right, it wasn't a huge increase.
What is that, 128 number increase?
No, that's not an increase, no. That's what it would cost.
Yeah.
I know I wasn't reading the numbers very badly, but.
Yeah. So I
It
guess,
says $4,680 on Brenda's thing for the dental, and $526 a year for the vision.
So it's about 5,000 for
Right.
those.
It was like 13,000 for increase in the health insurance going to MVP gold, and there was another 5,000 roughly for the vision and dental.
Right.
So that's why I said about 18 grand with the increase.
now the other thing that I just wanna make a comment about HSAs are really valuable tools. And the fact that we have an HSA here is a benefit in and of itself. For example, I have something called an HRA or something like that. And that's where my husband's office will reimburse us a certain amount of money after we've paid out of pocket, right? But if we don't have any health expenses, we don't get that money, right? That money just goes off the table and is available next year, right? However, with an HSA, if we had had an HSA, we can build up that money year after year and it becomes ours. And when we're old people, it might come in real handy, right? Because we have this extra money. So HSAs are actually already a better benefit than an HRA. I don't know if I'm using the term right, HRA, but
That's the
yeah.
health reimbursement account
Yes,
versus flexible spending account versus
yes,
HSA.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just one other comment is, just reflecting on what Larry just summarized about, there's a slight premium increase to go to the gold MVP plan, but you're getting significantly lower deductibles. It might be a year just to keep the HSAs where they are.
yes. Well, my suggestion would be for the budget, for the budgeting, and you can all agree with me on this or not, is that we plug in, and I would vote for including the spouse for the dental and the vision. It's not that big of a cost and it's a nice benefit to have for the two people. So I would vote for plugging in this number here for health insurance on Brenda's side plus a 10%.
And what's the 10% for?
Because we're halfway, this will cover us only for half of the year. And then we expect health insurance will go up.
Oh, okay.
So does that make sense to people? So we're agreeing on two things. We're agreeing on keeping the HSA the way it is, because it's a much better bang for the buck because of the decrease.
Right.
And allowing the spouse or partner to have dental and vision.
Do we know what that dollar amount was based on last time?
We didn't have dental and vision last time. And so the difference is this, it's basically these two numbers here. It's a small difference. I think in the grand scheme of things, like we're talking 492 versus 924.
It's about 1,500 a year to add the spouse,
For all of it.
for all of it.
Yeah,
for-
1,500 a year to add the stuff.
For dental and vision, for all the employees that have medical insurance for their spouse, if we add dental and vision, it's about $1,500 total.
Per,
No,
Total.
No,
total.
total for the
For
whole
the whole
package.
package.
okay.
So that's why I suggest that we put it in there in the budget. We can always go back and revisit it and say this is, and we don't have a lot of time to go back and revisit it, but that is something we could do. So does that make sense to you?
Yeah, and that number with the increase, I only have the increase for the Blue Cross plan, that what it would have been for this year.
Yeah,
Would have been $104,000.
okay. So it would have been 104,000 just for line item one, right?
Line item one.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we are paying more, but allowing our staff to have a much better deductible.
I mean, as of right now, between the higher grade plan, which lowers the deductible for everybody, increases the premium, but lowers the deductible. We've now added who they can, that also is able to cover them. Plus, we've added dental and vision. That's pretty generous in one given year. I'm
I
not
agree.
trying to be rude to anyone in the room.
I don't think
Look,
it's rude at all. It's extremely
It's
generous.
significant.
The thing, and we were so far behind that generous, there's always, risk. I'm not downplaying. I think having a lower deductible will make the world of difference. It will increase my health, the tests I can get, like the whole thing.
Right.
The glasses I can replace, like huge. I in no way want to sound ungrateful for that. And I think that's wonderful. And I think, that a $6,000 deductible is still a lot of money when, that's like 12% of what I make in a year. And then if I want to pay my taxes and, by no. So I'm saying that, yes, I hear you. And $6,000 is not a drop in the bucket for somebody making the salary that it is.
It's a total of 6,000, there's a deductible.
You'll take-
But yeah, but we're putting in 20, we're paying out 2,350, correct? So really, the most out of pocket you'll have is the 4,000, a little less than 4,000, 30, like 3,000 something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so moving on, thank you for that, Brenda, and thank you guys for helping us understand this a
Yeah,
little better,
that's
this was super helpful.
So you guys just vote, are you gonna vote?
Well, we're not really voting, there's nothing to vote on.
Zara.
No, and I don't think there's anything to vote on, I'm just asking her to put it in the budget.
Oh, we have to get the dental forms and the vision forms.
Oh, we voted on that, I thought. Oh,
We
I
didn't vote on-
okay, so we're gonna make a motion
Sure.
that we include these, the number 2 in the, or that we cover for the family.
Do we wanna have like we,
Yeah.
Stacy's here.
Yeah, we do
think
wanna have
we should.
Stacy. So Stacy, can you show your face? And unmute yourself so you can vote, unless she's stuck in the RV again. Stacy, are you there?
All right, I just figure
No, that was nice of you to
Yeah.
offer. Okay, so we need a motion to add the family member to the vision and dental. To pay for the, what's it called? The premium. The premium. Is there a motion for that?
I will make that motion.
Okay, Paul moves. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Larry seconds. All those in favor of adding the family member to the dental and vision, say aye. Okay. All right, that's all you needed. Yeah, and then you're gonna plug that into the budget. Okay. So it is now 6:15. We're gonna review the highway budget and fire department budget. So I saw the middle, I saw this and then,
It's not in the.
yeah, oh, here it is. Yeah, okay. So where do we wanna start?
So I'm gonna start at the beginning.
Give the road. Okay.
So, for biggest jump, that you're gonna see is winter sand. I believe that we are unable to get any more sand out of our pit. This year we had a difficult time getting good stuff. Ran into a lot of clay. And I don't believe we should be putting, inferior material on the new gravel that we've got on all these roads. So that being said, trucking and material has gone up significantly.
That's on the line item, the first line.
Yeah, winter sand and trucking right here would be the
Yeah.
first, yeah, it's just.
And just for some context, so Eric doesn't seem like he's throwing crazy numbers out there. In 2020, we did the exploration that found the last 5 years worth of winter sand in the pit that we already own. So these numbers, while they look crazy this year, are very, with cost of inflation, are very similar to what we were paying before we were using our sand for this 5-year window. So just, so that's out there.
The other big increase, was, tires. Tires for the grader are gonna need to be replaced next year. Yeah. They get a lot of abuse. We've used it quite a bit in the last, I don't know, what did you buy, 21? 20, 21?
Did you buy the?
I don't know. No, there
Goodness.
wasn't like 22.
Yeah, the tread is just getting down there. The
Where's
cost
that?
on our tire line item, so that's an extra cost of $13,000 for 6 tires mounted in.
But where it says tiers, needs to say tires.
Yeah,
Okay.
Tears.
uh. I think that was the only big jump. I tried to keep everything within reason. Paul and I went over this. We did add more money for guardrails.
Okay. where's that?
That's down on the bottom under construction. I think, no, above that. Under
Yeah.
highway miscellaneous.
They don't cost very much.
They don't?
I don't know, I thought they would cost hundreds of thousands.
No.
Doing the interstate.
They are not.
Okay.
We figured, what, $22 a linear foot?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And that's something you guys are able to put in yourselves? Oh, okay.
That's someone installing.
All right, so does that include the cost of
Yes.
installation? Okay. And no trucks, or is that in?
Yeah, we'll have to plug those numbers. I don't have those numbers. I'll have to get the Dorinda so we can put those numbers in. It'll be a payment number. I don't know.
For
New truck.
the debt,
Yeah,
Is it got service?
yeah, is this on one you're buying or one that we already have?
no, it'd be one that we're gonna have to buy.
Okay, well, we won't have to pay for it for another year. If you're buying it, well, it depends when you're getting it. So,
Yeah.
if you get it after July 1, then you don't have to worry about it till next year's budget.
Right.
If you get it before that,
Only problem with waiting that long is I bet you the prices are gonna get up even more.
Hmm.
So I'll have to look at that. See what we're saving and what we're.
And the wages are put in a different section of the budget, is that why they said?
well, they'll go in when you decide what percentage you're gonna do.
Did you check out leasing options?
I have not.
I'm just curious because that listserv said that it was such a good deal for a lot of people just. to
Yeah,
lease
I don't
highway
even know who to
equipment.
contact for that.
I don't
It
know.
was on listserv.
Yeah, it was on our treasures. There were just a lot of people that kept saying it was,
I just don't know. They must be trucks that were already.
it sounds like maybe Lucky's or whatever, they offer the capital leasing was the company that does it, and at the end you have the option of returning it,
Wonder
the
how
truck or
they
buying it for
set 'em up.
$1.
Because usually the truck is one price and then all the added stuff is
I don't
a
know.
different company.
It sounds like it's the whole package, when you just lease them, but
It's interesting.
I thought so too.
So you're gonna plug in the stuff on here.
I don't.
The debt service is $93,000 for the upcoming.
And then Dorinda, you'll plug in these numbers for the FICA.
For all of that, yeah, so that'll fluctuate depending on what percentage increase you guys decide to go for. So-
Right, and right now we have it as a 4% increase, right? Yep, okay. Okay. Does anyone have any questions about this? So again, just for Larry and Stacy's sake. We're not making any decisions now. This is what gets plugged in to Dorinda's budget. And then in December and January, after we've received all the budgets, we spend time.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say, we take that.
Mark's gonna look at it as well, and then we're going to discuss this in great detail, and we're gonna have these. What did Peter always call them? Like,
Reflect.
we're gonna reflect, we're gonna do a lot of reflecting.
Soul search.
We're gonna do some
That's
soul
what it is.
searching
That's
on
what
how
it
we can make our budget more palatable. So we're not making any decisions, but this is where they're just presenting, and then we might go back and say, do you really need, to spend 2,700 on waste disposal, Eric? Okay,
I had a question, just the lack of not knowing how the whole process works as far as, you know, the highway department. When you talked about road salt and then you were talking about trucking or winter sand,
Mhm.
that's what you're trucking, right? Is the winter sand? It's not
Correct.
it's a
No.
separate line item.
It's
But
the
that's what it
trucking
costs
for the
for-
winter season,
Okay.
yeah,
Thank
because
you.
we have to hire that out, there's
Yeah.
no way we can haul in
Oh,
that
sure.
amount of material.
Yes.
To our truck.
You mean they don't deliver it?
I mean,
For $1 amount.
They do, that's what that.
that's what
line
the
item
trucking
is.
is. Free delivery for $40,000.
You don't get free delivery with all that?
They'll just raise the
For
price of the
65
material. It's up to you, however you'd like it presented, Larry.
Right,
Thank you.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions for Eric on the highway budget?
So I just had just one comment, just so folks understand the context. The highway budget comprises about one half of our overall town. budget.
Mhm.
So it's the bully in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, that's what we are, we're roads.
Yep.
Yep.
Right, I mean, that's what we're made up of. Roads and a few people.
Ari mentioned that when he was talking about their budget, I mean, he said the numbers very fast, but I was thinking it was like 50% for
Yeah.
Halifax.
And their budget is very similar to ours.
Yeah, they said 1.1, 4.5 employees.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
good to see those.
Yeah, very side by
comparisons.
side, yeah. Okay, so, all right, so we'll take a better look at that later.
Yep.
How about fire department?
Fire department, there's really not much change. Other than dispatch, which we have no control over. And, I added a little bit just to the towing because it takes one tow bill to get that. Just in case we go off road, heaven forbid in the winter time. And, yeah, that's about it. I try to keep it pretty much
Okay.
steady.
So. This makes me think of something. Remember in the old days during the. Yeah, they were the good old days, weren't there? When. You, I think you were treasurer, would present us with a budget to actual. Remember that?
Yeah,
I think that's on there. If you look at that.
like he's got his actual figures on there.
Oh, yeah, okay, but remember how we used to get it periodically, like a whole.
That's a budget status.
Mhm.
Yeah, budget
Yeah.
status report. I
Mhm.
think that'd be handy to have, right? Just to be able to see like, are we gonna have leftover money here, or why haven't we spent money here, or why did we spend over? Because that helps us with also determining next year's budget, to like align. So I think that when it's time for us to actually be looking at the full budget that you present to us.
It's in it.
Yeah, well, we'll see that, right, okay, we'll see that.
It's lined up basically
Yeah.
the same way it is here.
Okay.
It'll show what you've spent in 24, 25, what you budgeted, what was actual. And then what our current year budget is.
And where we are
and
at.
then-
Where we're at, okay.
And that's where we're at when I did this.
Okay, maybe you get these reports and I just don't see them, right? But,
No, but you all used to get that.
yes, we used to get them like every month.
Every,
like,
yeah, once a
every
month,
we got it.
something like that.
And it was just handy to see. Okay, so, are you missing anything here? Eric, like that we're still waiting so the budget is going down, or no, 2.73?
Yeah, these numbers.
These are the
I
dead
don't,
zones.
yeah, I don't. so that's-
Yeah, okay, gotcha, all right, that's
That's just the
reasonable,
stuff that I-
nice job. Keeping it under 3%.
There's a couple numbers that are gonna change, like. Actually, one of them, the dispatch, I have an actual letter from dispatch.
Did you get one?
Yeah,
I didn't
so
see it.
that's actually goes down about $600.
Oh,
But the fire station interest needs to go up by 1,000 or 1,300, so. It'll all come out.
That'll work out.
Figure out.
It'll come out.
I'm glad it's going down. I didn't realize that. I didn't get that. I didn't see that letter.
You didn't see that?
Do you think 22,000 is gonna cover your stipend?
It should. We'll find out. We should though.
And where are we to actual on those stipends?
We won't know until,
Oh, right.
we won't know until, the first of the year.
I see, you don't give them out.
Twice a year.
Oh, just twice a year, gotcha,
Yeah.
okay. All right. Oh, is Ruben Bennett waiting in the lobby by any chance?
See, are we all set?
Yes, we are all set, thank you so much.
Thanks, Eric.
So is Ruben in there?
No, I don't,
So while Ruben's not in there.
Yeah.
One of, we have these things here.
Yes.
But the reason we've never done anything with it is because Darwin was often Matt or somebody that was a volunteer, they're not doing this, but.
right,
You know,
well,
to Dorinda's point, you know, it's kicking the can down.
yeah, exactly, yeah, well, that's why I,
You put money in, it's the budget every year and it doesn't.
yeah, and I think we need to just take care of it, right? And I don't think we need to rely on volunteers
and I
to
just-
continue to do things.
Because that's.
The rack space was the worst thing we could have done.
I said that was my.
It was the
exact
worst thing we
words
could have done.
to Cheryl today.
And he thinks that we have the money in the budget. When I talked to him, it sounded like it was
We
gonna,
haven't even talked about this, I don't know what he thinks we're talking about. Just-
well, no, I know,
Because we
but,
sat here previously and we
And
put it
everyone-
in every year.
Yeah,
but then
yeah.
we don't use
but we
it.
don't do it, right? Okay, so if someone can help me keep an eye on the fact that someone might be.
I just wanted you guys to know that's the reason why.
Yeah.
we Didn't do anything so far.
Make sure you get the email.
For the credit card bill, you'll see there's a credit on there, because that's it. Cashed in our rewards.
Oh, did you?
Brought it in,
Whatever you gotta do.
right? You don't even wanna know what it is. The rest of it is.
Okay, so while we're waiting for Ruben, should we jump ahead to YouTube? Since you're here and I don't see Ruben and, if there's anything else, yeah, why don't you go ahead?
To jump in?
Yeah.
Hi, Ursula Stanley. Some of you know me with a lot of different hats on. Today I'm here with my school board hat on. And Chris is here also, school board hat. And we're here,
Welcome. We have Chris McVeigh and Ursula Stanley.
can you hear me? I'll put my teacher voice on.
Yeah.
I'm on it. So you all got the letter that Floor sent to the select board, but we're here to ask for the select board to vote to mail ballots to the town for the school budget. It's a more equitable way to get ballots to everybody who's voting or who can vote. And every town has to vote affirmatively for the school district to be able to mail ballots. So if one town says no, the entire district is unable to mail ballots. And so we are here to request. The financial end of it is on us, but it is on the town clerks to do the mailing, but we pay for the fees and the mailing costs.
What about the time, the wages? You think rating that, I don't know.
A second. We have not talked about that for me. Do you know?
I think we, in the past, I know I've offered, to, if you keep track of your time, then we'll pay the time too, because we know it's an added chore. That might be, that adds onto what you need to do.
Okay.
But it is very important for us to get each of the towns to vote yes, so we can do it as a group. And so far, how many towns have voted yes?
Berlin,
have-
and East Montpelier, I know.
Yeah, Berlin and East Montpelier, those are both yes. I think Callis and Worcester have not had their meetings yet.
Okay.
I don't remember if they are today or later this week.
Should have asked Karen.
But technically, the way the statute is written, it says the towns should be responsible for mailing the ballots, but all costs associated with the mailing of ballots shall be borne by the school district. So
That doesn't.
the way I read that,
Go
I read that.
on and say it would include, you know, can't speak for the board, but I think we need
Neither,
8 hours
yeah.
too.
Do these,
That's fine.
when we've done it in the
Right,
past, do
thank
we
you.
do it through a mailing service?
Can I speak
Yes.
to the whole situation?
Yeah.
So last year we turned it down and we may have even turned it down the year before. This all started with COVID, when they
Right.
were mailing all the ballots. And what's happening now is when we mail just the school ballot, we inevitably get a call back saying, well, I didn't receive a town ballot. So you're really looking at having to mail all the ballots, which is costly. And so for that reason, I believe I know we definitely said no last year, and I believe we said no the year before. And,
And last
because
year
it
we
was-
had the privilege of knowing that Berlin had said no.
yeah,
I remember
and
that.
I think there really causes a lot of confusion on the voters' part. And so, you know, and it just doesn't seem right that we're putting manpower into mailing a ballot and we're not even doing our own.
I hear you, because I would also agree that it then becomes even more work because of that very reason that people then call and say, well, I want my other ballot sent to me.
Residual.
Yeah.
Residual.
Yeah.
And
And
it's,
when they come in, half the time they don't bring back the ballots and we have to reissue them again. Because they got them in the mail and, oh, it's on my kitchen table.
Yep.
So we're issuing them again.
Is it, Dorinda, a budget issue? Or is it?
No.
So it's not
Well,
that
it's a twofold. it's really a confusion because the town doesn't mail their ballots. So that starts the ball rolling. And then it would become a budget issue if the town was to mail the ballots.
Do we have a cost for that if the town were to mail the ballot?
Of course, postage.
Well, no, but do we know the cost? What do you know
what
what
it
it costs?
is,
You know
what
what
the
it is?
cost is.
Well, what is it to me?
74 cents per letter,
Per
but
letter.
for bulk mail, it's
Yeah.
a
And
little less.
depending, so then what happens is you happen to get into, and I would not be surprised if this doesn't happen, when the Career Center puts in a third ballot. So now you've got 3 ballots in question, and then your letter is no longer 74 cents, it's double that. And, so and we don't know if there's gonna be a career ballot at this point, but with a revote, I wouldn't be surprised if this will be a prime opportunity to do it.
Under statute, the, Career Center District would be responsible for bearing the cost of their mailing.
It's
So-
not the cost.
I think it's the.
It really
it's the-
is the time and the confusion to the public.
And we'll know if there's gonna be revoted in a couple of days, because they have 30 days, if there's petition to have a revote, it's 30 days from the date of, and that was November 4th. So, and I haven't seen anything that is suggesting that there's gonna be a revote, just because it's such a resounding defeat. I think, you know, if it was close, I think there would be a petition out there, but when it's 2-1, no one's gonna do a revote. They're gonna do a reconsideration and other ways, but, sorry.
No, so, I just don't know the answer. If we didn't mail them, how would they get out to people?
They have to come here. and
They would
vote.
come in and.
They have to come
Or,
here.
or they can call you and that you can mail in a ballot.
So the same
Okay.
way they would get a ballot in any other,
So the same way we did for the bond vote, for instance, we didn't mail them. And, what are the benefits to us mailing them?
okay.
Go ahead.
The benefits to mailing ballots, and this would be true for the town, and I understand that there is a manpower or people power aspect to it. The benefit to mailing ballots to every registered voter is that they get their ballot in hand if they are unable to travel to here to vote. Or if the executive functioning step of calling and requesting their ballot is too much, they don't vote. And so you're missing votes.
So you
You're
get a
missing
higher
voices.
percentage of voters, is what you're saying?
I'm saying it opens it up to availability and equitability and accessibility for people who are differently able.
One other question, has it ever been done before where a letter goes out with the ballot? Saying something to the effect of,
You have to
You
come
know,
in and get your other ballots.
yeah, we're mailing this ballot because of this reason, all other ballots this year will go out, you have just some explanation.
I believe
Sheriff had a little.
in the, yeah, Sarah always had these very beautifully written, she was always very
The
creative.
issue with that is you'd be mailing 1 ballot and then they'd be calling and you'd have to be mailing a second ballot. Because of the letter that's in there. If they get the Career Center ballot and there's a little letter that says if you want your other ballots, you have to call or come in and vote in person. There's where the town is gonna incur that cost.
Well, and they're gonna incur the time too,
And
and
the
that's my biggest worry, and I will, but I wanna ask. Is this year the year that we are voting on consolidation?
The question is, don't know, because consolidated, the way that process works is the board, if they vote to, send the petitions to the towns for voting, then the towns will have the opportunity to be a district-wide vote, then individual towns, the 2 towns, actually Worcester and, Alice, will have individual votes, their votes will be counted separately, because they need to, if they're gonna close the school, the town's majority vote in that town, has to vote to close the school. And so it's a twofold, go ahead.
It's 2 different votes. We have a budget vote that we're here asking to
Okay.
mail. The other vote, the timeline that we're looking at, potentially now, but there is action that the board needs to take by December 10th in order to move forward with it. If we are doing a vote on closing schools within our district, it would have to happen in January in order for us to be able to account for it in our budget. So that's gonna be an entirely separate, and it does not get voted on here. The two towns that vote on it would be the two towns where their school is being closed. So that would be, right now, based on the configuration at hand, is Calais and Doty. So East Montpelier, Berlin, Middlesex do not have a vote in that
They already
situation.
voted and they turned it down. It just keeps
Nobody has
going.
voted.
I thought Calais voted.
That was
No.
different.
Nobody was allowed to vote. The board never forwarded it to vote. So the board opted to not move forward with
Gotcha.
configuration last October. And we have reconvened a new configuration committee. It's been a year. Reevaluating the situation, student outcomes. Large number of things, classes, Chris was on the committee. A new year, taking a different approach to it. And that committee has put forth the recommendation that we have for us. That we will be talking about tomorrow and next week.
So the request from these folks is for the town, to, mail the WCU USD regular old ballot. Which is, what is the timeline for that?
We need to be able to vote on it at our next.
No, I know it has to be voted, I think it has to be, well, by the,
Ballot shall be mailed no less than 20 days before the election, so election is that first Tuesday, so I don't know what the date is this year.
Early February.
so early, but
Yes.
yes. And I think that we have to make a decision either tonight or at the latest. I think we still could make it on the 16th, because you guys said you need the information by the 17th.
We would need to have your answer by the 17th, correct?
Right. So we could hold off on this to see what the other towns do.
One other, not wanting to make the meeting go long, our mail service is very unreliable. We had our mail carrier, told us that he is being reassigned and they don't have a replacement. So we're not even getting mail pickup or, delivery.
I wouldn't suggest that we do this mailing. I would suggest we send it out to like Capital Copy. And, with our mailing list, an Excel spreadsheet, and they do it. I mean, I don't know what we've ever done in the past, but
Have you done that before? Like go to a.
I used to do that for the fall harvest dinner all the time. I would do like and then you get a bulk mail price too.
And you avoid the quick time, whoever is putting.
The problem is what Dorinda's saying too, which is, like, I don't think these bigger towns are like Berlin, they're not having someone sitting there stuffing envelopes, they're doing it through a service.
So can you guys do that yourself? Why don't you guys take it to Capital Coffee and have them do it for all the towns?
I think they would still need to have the approval.
The state statute reads specifically that the mailing is done by the town while we incur the cost.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I think that is part of it. I'm not sure why they ever wrote it that way.
Cause they're just regular people writing statute, they don't.
And just like you guys discussed earlier, right, like how many hours are you putting in? A week, a month? In more or less an unpaid position. So are we.
Yeah. So and I think that where the extra time would potentially come in is with the phone calls and they're like, I didn't get this, or I didn't do that, or why didn't I get this, right? Even if we send a letter with it, but, and it does take some time to pull together the things that you need for direct mailing.
For the career center thing, people were complaining, saying they didn't know anything about it. They didn't see anything about it. And we were putting something out every single week about
Yeah.
loading and stuff. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty, yeah. So
We were posting.
what do you guys think? Should we make a decision tonight, yay or nay, or should we wait to see what the other towns? Because we are lucky in that we have one extra day, so if they're later, they have to make a decision.
I'm just laughing at Stacy on her walkie-talkie. I can't help
Yeah,
it.
okay.
Directly in
I
NASCAR.
can't hear you, Stacy. I can't hear you.
Not listening.
I'm. Sorry,
Good,
Stacy,
buddy.
we're having a laugh at your expense, Stacy.
What do
Wait,
you
sorry,
guys
okay.
What do you guys think? Should
The-
we
the mailing
should we
thing?
decide? Because our decision is going to impact other people's decisions. So if we decide yay, that'll put pressure on other towns to do yay. If we decide nay, everyone will breathe a sigh of relief and say, "I'm good, we don't have to do anything." And so far, 2 towns have said yay, or we can wait until the 16th to see what other towns say.
Are you asking the board?
I'm asking the board, yeah.
I mean, I'm fine. I
thoughts,
don't
Susan?
want to be the naysayer. So it's like if everyone says yes, then fine. But if someone else holds out, then fine. It seems like an odd request to put to the town when it's a school issue, but I understand the motivations.
Thoughts, Larry?
Yeah, I would probably at this point, like, we should vote on it and be done with it, so everybody knows.
Okay,
I would, so I would wanna move the question tonight, and I would
Okay.
be, against doing it.
okay, you would be against doing it. What about you?
I would agree. I'm
You would be
on
against doing it,
both accounts.
Okay, and Stacy, you would be for it or against it?
Yeah,
What's your
I'd be
gut?
for it.
You'd be for it, okay. Okay, so, and I would be the breaking vote, or it would be a tie.
Well, the
In
other,
which
do we
case-
wanna do it tonight? Do
If
we
or
wanna
we could
vote
wait for
to-
Zara.
Or
I
wait
think
for
Zara would, I can't say what Zara would do.
Yeah, no,
So,
maybe it's better we wait.
right, because I'd be inclined to say yes, and which would just put us at a stalemate.
So
So let's just wait.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so, we're gonna hold off. You don't need to come again unless
Okay.
you're inclined to. Okay. And, hopefully Zara will be back and that we'll have all 5 of us. Stacy, when are you arriving back in Vermont?
I don't know.
Will you be at
Don't
next
know.
month's meeting, and next week's meeting?
No,
You won't?
not likely. No. I mean, I can zoom in, but I won't be here.
Remote.
We're in
No,
New
I meant, are
Mexico.
you gonna
We
be
have-
there remotely? Are you gonna zoom in?
Oh,
Yes,
yeah,
you can
yeah.
zoom.
I was just say physically, no, remotely, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good. All right,
Sorry.
so
Yeah,
I'm sorry
we're
to
not
keep
home
you
yet.
guys hanging.
No, better than no.
Okay,
Definitely better than no.
Better than.
okay,
Yeah, I think it'd be better to have full board.
yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you guys for
Thank you for your
coming.
time.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
And it looks like, Ruben probably forgot. That happens. Hopefully he's not slapping a snowbank. So we have the down under other business, we have considering increasing the assistant town clerk assistant bookkeeper's hourly wage by $1 an hour effective 10/1/2025. Action likely, and so, Cheryl had mentioned to us and you as well, Brenda, that you felt that, you've been putting in a lot of time and effort into this job and, you've been here for, what is it now? I don't even know. 4 months,
No.
6 months, 6 months, right?
April, May, June, July.
And,
9.
she's
Yeah.
requesting $1 an hour raise, and so effective. And then that would also go into our budget with whatever that would be. Plus whatever percentage we agreed to increase people's wages by. So that would put us, I think I calculated it to be about, it's gonna cost us an extra like $1,600 or something like that, because. If it's October 1, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, 9 months, right? So,
So I'm reading this correct, that this would have, is being retroactive as of 10/1.
10/1.
That's not a there's not an error.
No,
Okay.
retroactive as of
Okay.
10/1, yeah,
10/1
because
is
I
the
meant to
6th.
put this on a
10/1 is the
previous,
6th.
yeah, I meant to put this also on a previous, agenda item, and I didn't. Anyway, I think, how many hours a week, are you 40 hours or 32?
Lately, I've been 40.
Okay, so let's just, well, we know that 2080 is a full year. divided by 12 times 9 is, yeah, it would be $1,560, an extra $1,560.
But just a procedural question is, why are we doing this like mid-budget? I mean, I would think that we would look at all town employees at the same time and consider raises and so forth. Why are we doing it? Is there a reason for that?
Is that,
You can answer it, yeah, sure, yeah.
there was a raise given out on July 1 to every town employee except me. And the reason was they hadn't been here long enough. And so, my thought was it was a cost of living raise, not a merit raise. And so my cost of living went up the same as everybody else's cost of living. But I do understand that I had only, you know, I started in April and it was July, so I hadn't really been here that long. So at that time, I was told, you know, you haven't been here long enough. Let's revisit it at your 6 months. See how you're doing, how you're feeling, you know, how the select board wants to proceed. So that was in October and it's just been too crazy since then.
6 months was October.
That's why it's retroactive. But
So that the conversation, did that happen at a board meeting, Brendan? Because I wasn't here, so just help me
I don't
understand.
think it did it? I don't remember there being a conversation.
No, it was just part, because she was already budgeted and the position was budgeted in at 25, is what we did.
And I think too, you know, there's been a lot going on. And I know Cheryl has needed a lot of support and Brenda's been able to provide that support. And, you know, we had also, gone through a previous assistant, right? And it's a lot of work to, you know, train someone and, you know, make sure that they're able to provide the support that the town clerk needs.
How will this affect other employees? I mean, you say this is is the policy, what's the policy? So when would you get that bump in July 1st raise or cost of living, whatever it might be? What's you supposed to be here for 6 months before you can get that?
We don't have a policy.
Yeah.
So then why, who told you that you couldn't have it?
We did as a whole group, because she was already 25 hours, we didn't want to turn around and turn. She came in just 2 months before the budget ended last year,
Yeah.
this year. So it was, she hadn't been here 6 months yet, so they decided to hold it off. It was just a conversation.
But not at a board meeting.
No, not at a
board meeting.
Okay.
Oh, I just said, oh, and you said, how would that affect everybody else? Right now,
Yeah, I
I'm
mean, like,
the lowest paid employee out of the town.
you are,
I am,
okay, lower than,
currently.
there's only 6 employees.
I'm lower than everybody.
Okay,
Yeah,
Um,
so it would,
And it wouldn't affect anything any different than it was when we voted to do it for Eric.
right,
Yeah, we also did this for Eric, bid budget, and there's a reality that like anytime we add anything at any time of year, it doesn't necessarily fit into the budget, right? And so I think it's you know, we're weighing the cost of making sure that, you know, we have an employee who's done a lot of work to train into the position, didn't get that, you know, cost of living, which is understandable, and now we're doing that at the 6 month.
And
Because
that
we're
would
sort of
cover-
adjusting to the realities of the job as well, and supporting someone who's also new, right? So I think that there's that,
I guess my question was how are the other employees gonna feel? Are they gonna feel,
Oh.
wait a minute, hey, wait a
Nobody's
minute.
gonna have an issue with it,
I don't think people are gonna have an issue with it.
not at all.
If we explain to them why it is that we're doing that.
Well, I'd like to, Zara had texted me and she did ask that I not throw her under the bus, but I'm going to openly say that I'm in agreement with Zara on this. So that's, I'll at least buffer it with that. They say, my opinion, oh, I'm sorry.
No, I can't get myself on here.
Okay. It's caught me off guard.
I make less than the listers. I make less, Sean, who just started, makes a good bit more than me. So,
So Zara is not in support of it, and I am not either, only because at this point, with the insurance adjustments that we've made, which are significant. And also I do fear, and I've seen it before here, where we do that and it ends up being a bit of a snowball effect with other employees. It does have this residual, and unfortunately, because we're not of like a for-profit business where I can come talk to you as a boss or something like that, kind of state my case and, hey, I've been working, I've made my improvements and things like that. The town is generally, for the most part, it's not gospel, but we're generally of more of across the board increases. And in the past, it has caused some waves. Now, we have in the past gone as far as making an across the board increase in the middle of a budget season. I'm not suggesting that here. But that's where Zara and I are at, though I reflect the same opinion as Zara.
Okay, but Zara won't be voting, but,
She did ask that I just.
yeah. Shelley?
Hey, sorry, I always get myself off mute and can't figure out the video, so you hear me before you see me. A lot of times I know, and I don't know if towns are the same, is in business, I know they have like a probationary period of 6 months. And a lot of times if the person's doing well, they get a raise at that time. I know from the corporate world, that's what they did. And I know that we had problems with the assistant clerks before Brenda, and I just know that she seems to be doing a great job. That's my take. I mean, that and I don't know if towns are different than the corporate world, you know. But I know that she is doing a great job as far as helping Cheryl that I see when I'm in the office.
Thank you, Shelley.
And this is where updating the personnel.
I was just gonna say that.
We haven't got to
I agree, and I
the
totally
personnel
agree.
thing, because I've heard what Shelley just said, I've had that experience in my employment as well. Where once there's a probationary period, and at the end of the probationary period, you get a bump. Because you've passed probation, you've learned your job and you're doing it well, there's no issue.
Stacy, do you have any comments?
I guess my comment, like, my concern is simply like implementing a raise for a single employee because of the timing of that employee's hiring when the last cost of living increase went into effect. It just seems like a precedent that I'm not sure we want to make. But also understandably, we all everyone wants to earn more and needing to recognize good work. But I think it's disingenuous to say it's not a merit increase in that way. If it's a cost of living increase, those are done across the board. A cost of living increase shouldn't be done for a single employee. So if there's a channel for a merit increase, that would make more sense. I guess my personal opinion is just taking issue with the way it's been framed. It's that I don't want to create a precedent where any employee can come forward and ask for a cost of living increase at any point during our billing or budget cycle. Those are my thoughts.
Okay, and I think I have a couple of thoughts about it. One is that I do want to clarify, we did do, so there is a precedent for increasing someone's wage. We did it for Eric. We gave him $1 an hour more, mid-budget. It was just you know what, we've done some research and I will also say that for the select board, for this position, I'm wrong about this. I felt like we chose the hourly rate. Who was the previous select board assistant? Did we have someone? Was it you? No.
No, it was
Cindy Carlson did it before,
the select board assistant.
Not select board assistant, town clerk assistant.
That was
Alright.
me, and I did.
before that was Dave Smith.
Okay, right. Yes.
Just
trying to use my experience with the state and whatnot. Thinking about the way this was handled when she was hired, this sounds like a corrective action to me more than a raise. I don't think there's a lot of documentation as to why she didn't get the dollar when everyone else did. That seems to be the inequity here. is
Right,
that-
well, it wasn't a dollar, it was a percentage increase.
Okay, whatever,
Yeah.
the percentage that was given to the other employees at that time, absent policy that I think everyone is kind of waiting on. I guess I don't see how you could defend the fact she didn't get it. So if you framed it as a correction, that, it doesn't set a precedent. You're correcting a mistake. Rather than setting a precedent of, oh, you can come in anytime you want.
What was the percentage that everybody got?
4%.
And would this be 4%, $1 for you? Or is it less than what they got?
4%.
It's a dollar, it's 4%.
The dollar was on your salary, so it's the percentage, it's
Yeah.
different for everybody, so it would be $1 would be so it's correcting.
Well, Liz and I have been talking about this.
Yeah.
Since right after we hired her, on what to do about this, so that's.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, my vote would be to, is to sort of make it right. Give the dollar an hour, retroactive to 10/1. And set a goal that we're going to come up with some sort of, potential merit increase or something that we can offer as an incentive to keep people here. And I would argue that, this could result in her saying, well, you know what, I'm gonna go find a job where I can make more than 25 an hour. And then we have to go through the costly process of finding someone to replace her.
And starting at more than $25 an hour.
Right, and have to offer more than $25 an hour. So I would make a motion that we increase her wage by $1 an hour retroactive to 10/1. And is there any further discussion about it? Is there a second to that motion? You can always vote it down.
Yeah, I'll second the motion.
Okay, so we have a motion to increase Brenda's hourly wage by $1 retroactive to 10/1. We have a second. All those in favor of said motion, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed?
Aye.
Okay, so the ayes have it. And we will put that in, and I think that we will also add to our goals that we,
Yeah.
the help of a town administrator.
Yeah. Well, I think that the personnel policies is hopefully we'll get to, so need to be addressed. And these things are all things that should come up in that and come up with the ideas of a probationary period with a bump or to that effect or something.
Yeah.
Which means you would start less than we want to start yet because you want the bump and see what the people are, so.
Right,
But,
okay,
so I
All right.
just like to call it a corrective action, though. I like your thoughts.
yeah, sure,
But I think that we should have those things, when those things happen, we should probably have the board talk about it, like.
Yeah.
Cause I would have said, no, give her the raise, or give her everybody else is getting them to run.
yeah,
I mean, there's no.
Yeah.
To hold her against, I mean, you don't ever know when you're gonna hire an employee from.
Right.
And so,
and, these aren't easy conversations to have, but thank you all for your thoughts and, because I think what everyone has said is all true, right? And everything here is all true and, how can we make it better next time and easier next time? Okay, so we have orders, do we not? Okay, and,
minutes to it, but.
oh yeah, and minutes that need to be signed. And I think that's it. Was there any other correspondence?
Yeah, I don't think there was, but I was just gonna ask you if there was.
Yeah, I did get an invoice from, Dexter LeFavor, and I did respond to that.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I sent an email in response, requesting more information, so,
Ending a contract.
yeah. And we're not going to be signing a contract, so,
Retroactively.
right, we're not gonna be signing a contract retroactively, no. But I did say that, you know, if there is a, you know, if the 4 drawings that were approved by the, state for the permits that we received already, that, you know, provided those were good to go, that we would cover the cost of those. But I needed a more detailed invoice, describing what work was actually done and how much it costs per culvert for that, so. Alrighty, so if there isn't anything else, wow, guys, we did a good job. We ended early because Ruben Bennett forgot to come. So I will invite him, I guess, to next week meeting. And so I do want to get some clarity, Dorinda, when should we start? Do we have everyone's budgets now?
Only the town one is left. I have to sit down with Cheryl.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of numbers. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna meet with her either Wednesday of next week. Or was it the 10th? I think
Okay.
I think next week.
So I should probably on the 16th have our first full budget discussion.
Right, yeah.
Okay,
And what I'll try to do is
when we start the soul searching.
after I get the town portion, because I think that's all that's left, I'll email everybody.
Okay, perfect, great, thank you. And if you wouldn't mind putting it into a spreadsheet so we can play around with like percentages and stuff like that. Like,
So then you guys gotta rename it every single time or do something different because.
Right.
no, I just save it as my own.
I was just like, cause
I know
last
that
year,
happened,
yeah,
I know.
that happened.
Yes, and it all got.
Did you find the minutes from the select board?
Nope. There's a printed copy that was in a folder, I did find that,
Did find that?
yeah.
Okay, because I may be able to scan that and be able to turn it into a document with my Adobe.
Okay. But I don't know if it was the edited version, but I wanna wait till Susan comes back.
Okay, yeah.
Cause Susan thinks she might have it.
Okay.
maybe, so.
Well, I saw the email from Kimberly, but it said the link had expired and it was no longer there.
So we'll plan to see that for next.
For the
The next-
16th.
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll try to get it done and, because I've got all the numbers plugged in so far.
Okay, and I also forgot to unrecord the pausing, so this never got recorded, but truth be told, I've never shared a Zoom meeting, so we're gonna rely on Orca. Thank you, Orca, for being here and allowing us to be able to see the show later. Okay, so if there's nothing
Also,
else,
this
this meeting,
recorded it?
what?
This thing get recorded on Zoom the whole meeting?
No, but they recorded it, Orca did, so
Yeah.
it'll come up.
No, I've had a couple of those where I've had to.
Yeah, I just forgot.
The-
Okay, thanks, Carol. Hope everything's well in Florida. Is it still warm down
Yes.
there?
Yes, much better than up there.
We have a snowstorm right now.
80
Where's
82
where's-
today. 82 degrees today.
where's the-
Oh, my goodness, that sounds amazing. Stacy,
Oh,
where are
yeah.
you?
We're in southern New Mexico. We just got our RV back. It has a new transmission. Yay. But yeah, we're just making our way home. Bit at a time.
Nice.
So hopefully we'll make it up our driveway when we get home.
In the RV.
With all the snow. So anyways, all right, so there's a meeting next. Yeah, John, he's like say we got him on speed dial. Anyways, I'll see you guys next week. It sounds like we're doing another meeting.
That sounds great. Well, not next week, on the
Okay.
16th, Stacy.
16th. Okay.
Yeah.
Next meeting.
All right,
Sounds good.
bye, everybody.